Although we're standing on Ukrainian soil here, behind us on that bank is Moldova.
Yeah. So we've got our first sight of Moldovan soil. We haven't actually been to Moldova yet. We're not quite sure if it's legal if we go over there and don't declare ourselves or anything. Not sure if that's a legal entry. Okay, we're in an immigration official's office in Moldova. They've deflated the canoe. We haven't seen it for a while, but we've just been told that it's illegal to canoe down the frontier because it's an international border, and also that we'd be mad to canoe down past Dniester because we'll be shot at, which is bad news. The worst news at the moment is we're still stuck here after a couple of hours, and we haven't seen our canoe in a while. So things aren't getting any better.
Even without the canoe, we don't really know what's going to happen to us.
No, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and we better put this away before they come back.
Yeah, they've just gone for a smoke.
While lying on my bed with my limbs relax.
It does look like we're going to have to give up canoeing now, probably for the entirety. It's probably all going to be over now.
They said they were going to take us to a bridge where we could go back over to Ukraine. So then we got back to the border station by the bridge, and we'd been stopped probably about 12:15. We got grilled at the border station for probably another 3 hours.
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours, yeah.
Just officials coming in and out and telling us different things, and eventually we got a really nice guy who was a bit of an Anglophile. You know, he said, "This isn't big strife," was one of his phrases. And so, you know, it seemed to all be alright. The Moldovans then brought some Ukrainian guards over to take us back to the Ukrainian side. However, the Ukrainians weren't happy because we left their country illegally.
Although it soon transpired that while neither the Moldovans or the Ukrainians were particularly annoyed about the illegal entry of Moldova and illegal exit of Ukraine, the Ukrainians were annoyed about the fact that we were on the river without a permit, which we didn't know about. So it turned out that we did actually need to have a permit to go down the border, because they said we needed to have permission from both sides, and obviously we didn't have that.
We finally got back over to the Ukrainian side. Actually, sorry, I should mention that by this point, on the Moldovan side, 2 people wearing like navy blue combats with rings of stars, who turned out to be EU like border observers.
They were part of a EU border mission. It's coordinated between Moldova and Ukraine. It's related to the Dniester conflict, and they basically seem to observe the goings on of the border posts.
Advise the police and train them and things like that. Then once in Ukraine, we were put in a Ukrainian army jeep, driven to a Ukrainian military base, where we sat for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. I mean, the time just flew. There were a lot of apparently serious-looking military faces and just bursting into laughter at us. And it was kind of disconcerting, but amusing at the same time.
It was very strange, very surreal.
And then another EU representative came over, who was a German policeman called Stefan, accompanied by an interpreter called Elena, and they were just great. They knew what was going on, they knew some of the Ukrainian laws and protocols and things like that, and they knew what questions to ask. So it turned out that, you know, we were just going to have to be put through a lot of paperwork. By this time it was about 5:30, we'd been stopped at about 12:15. And at 5:30 they told us that they were beginning like the official process, and that they would hold us for a maximum of 3 hours until they'd have to, like, I don't know, extend it somehow.
Well, and at some point during the 3 hours they said, oh yeah, we're meant to tell you now that you can make a phone call to your families if you want to. And we were like, phone our families? No, I don't think so.
That's the worst course of action we could possibly have taken. They would have panicked.
Yeah.
And they were asking us all kinds of questions, where we came from, you know, looking at the maps, which side of the dams we'd crossed on. That was a particular point, whether we'd gone onto Moldovan soil or not, which side of the river we'd been on, how we'd got onto the other side.
Which train we'd come on, everything.
Oh yeah, they even asked to see our tickets. They must know our passports better than we do. It was just trying to use up their 3 hours, and also just to try and worry us a bit. At times it was comically funny, at other times it was deathly boring and tiring, and at other times a little bit scary. As you see, we've been filming earlier, so we really didn't want that to be found, because, you know, I think it would be a lot worse if we'd be charged for spying.
And then eventually, after the 3 hours had just come to an end, we were released without even a fine. We just had to sign a load of paperwork, statements, and both the Ukrainians and Moldovans had come to the agreement that we hadn't done anything intentionally. At the end of the 3 hours, we got a taxi back to the border crossing and actually crossed into Moldova legally this time. This was after about 8 or 9 hours.
We were held for 8 hours over.
Yeah, 8 hours.
Just over 8 hours.
We're planning to head to Chisinau tomorrow in a little marshutka.
Which is a tiny little minibus.
We're still going to continue travelling around. We'll try and get to the Dniester, maybe get to the Dniester region if it's not too dangerous, but we have been warned that if we canoe down the border, we will be shot at. And also been warned that going into Dniester can be very dangerous and very difficult.
Right, we're now in Chisinau, where we're staying for a few days. Yesterday we met up with our translator friend Elena, who helped us out of a tight spot in Otachi. We went to a few bars and things with them, had a steak at 1 AM. That was all interesting. Obviously a bit disappointed that our canoe journey's come to an end, so we're going to have to make new plans. Maybe do some walking, might go over to Romania, maybe go to the Carpathians. We don't really know yet, we'll just have to see what happens, how plans go.
Andrew and I are going to be heading our separate ways for a few days. I want to check out Dniester, and Andrew wants to go to Romania, so he's going to go to Romania, and then I'm going to meet up with him later in the week. I'm going to do a little bit of canoeing down the Dniester on the Dniester side, which will be a little bit more dangerous, but should be pretty interesting.